Hello, my name is Ruth Batham. I'm a painter. I've been working as an artist since 2017. I'm going to share a little bit about my background with you first. I was born in the Black Country and then I moved to London to study my foundation at Wimbledon School of Art. From there, I went on to UCL. I had a deferred degree in human sciences. This took me in a roundabout way to becoming an artist in 2017. However, the course is hugely influential on my practice. I was able to study what it is to be human from a huge range of disciplines, such as history of medicine, anthropology, psychology, anatomy, and all this feeds now into how I research and learn about humans for my own painting practice. I taught for 7 years in primary school and across 2 different schools and ran the art across the schools, which is still a really key thing that I like to think about in what I'm doing. I think education and art fit so well together and have so many useful and beneficial crossovers. A sort of curiosity in people has always been something that I've got, and I think my degree let me understand that in a more academic way. And now I have an ongoing practice of keeping sketchbooks and reading and researching, listening to a variety of podcasts, not just from the arts, but from different disciplines as well. A real reference point for me during lockdown was thinking about crowds. I had a real nostalgia for pubs when we were so isolated. My family all work in the brewing industry, and that's a real influence of my past. Questioning norms and thinking about societal expectations is something that's run throughout my practice since 2017. I studied at Terps in 2019, and that really, I feel like, made me into a painter. I really learned so much about how to paint and also how to professionalise what I'm doing. And then in 2020, I had a little girl, my first child, and that profoundly changed the focus of my practice. It's still very much about exploring boundaries between people and thinking about the societal norms, unpicking that kind of cultural baggage, but it's become much more political and more personal than I ever thought my work would be. Before I had my daughter, I really didn't think I would make work about motherhood, and it's been quite a shock to the system to sort of understand and unpick the real kind of patriarchal views that I'd taken on without even realising. So it's been a very exciting time since 2020, and the work I'm making now is all around motherhood. My biggest influences when I was at art school, it was really the kind of key portrait painters like Freud and Saville. Now it's expanded. I love figurative painters, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for painters that use limited palettes. I feel funny listing a few people because actually there's just so many incredible, talented artists that I refer to and love to keep up with their work. But I am going to name just a few. So working at the moment, there's Nettle Grelier, Dana Schutz. I got to see her show in Copenhagen this year and it was mind-blowing. Susie Hamilton, Caroline Walker, Jenna Gribben. So they're all key influences. And then more recently, I've been influenced by certain writers, Emma Unsworth, Lucy Jones, Maggie Nelson, Emily Oster. And I always like to keep up with what Hetty Judah's doing, because she is such a champion for artist mothers, artist parents, and is doing some really exciting things within the art world. I think that what I'm focusing on right now is I took part in a 2-week residency in July at Ruth Smith Gallery, which is brilliant. It's the first residency I've taken part in, and I really use the parameters of a different sense of time and space. And I went with lots of photo references. I wanted to make faster work, and I wanted to work on a series that I was able to put up on walls that I don't normally have the space for. So I ended up coming away with 65 paintings, not finished, but I'm now doing a sort of third layer of those to finish them off. And they're all around sort of slippages of memory and time, thinking about how time warps and that where I'm at now with my sort of journey into motherhood is a lot more of a positive and place, and I wanted the work to be more sort of celebratory than some of the previous series I've made. I am monoprinting. Monoprinting is such a comfort zone. I like to go back to it when I've had a little break. I had a bit of a break in August and then come back to my studio practice. I'm working on a series where I'm thinking about using text to give a sort of clear message, and then the monoprint and the drawing to give a sort of almost confused, slightly fuzzy image to think about the sort of fogginess of having a newborn and the confusion and the overwhelm. And then I've got 3 very large stubborn canvases on the go. They are combining imagery of hellmouths. Oh, they're so interesting to look at. With sort of my experience of motherhood. Thinking a lot about maternal rage, which is often an emotion that could be suppressed by society or is certainly not given the space that it should. But those are coming along quite slowly at the moment because I've just got so many reference points in my sketchbooks, and it's sort of, where do I start? I think that probably links to the next thing to share, which is my biggest challenge of being an artist. It's probably self-doubt. It's an absolute privilege to be a working artist, and I'm just grateful for any studio time I can get. But sometimes when you're on your own, you know, it can be quite, you can sort of doubt what you're doing, and it's nice to have recognition and outside validation, but also I'm aware of how that isn't always based on, you know, the quality of the work. The advice that I give to my younger self is to be patient. Looking back now over the last, 5 years or so, I can really see there's a slow build in my practice, and it's quite exciting to look back and see how little connections here and there have built and developed, and themes in my work have solidified. I was quite impatient at the start, thinking I needed my, you know, where's my way in, what's my thing, and actually I needed time to develop that. I mainly work with paint. I was using oils until I was pregnant. I decided to switch to acrylics because I didn't want to have the solvents around. I was also a little bit of a nomad in lockdown and lost my studio space, so didn't fancy having a bedroom stinking of terps. I'm still with acrylics now. I don't feel like I've fully got to grips with them. I feel like there's a lot more to play and learn with them. When I was studying at Wimbledon, I worked quite a bit with latex and wall and string dipped in wax, which I'd like to go back to at some point. When I'm in the studio, I really vary on what I listen to. Sometimes I don't have anything on, but most likely I'll either have a podcast some of my favourites are, I really love the Monor Gallery podcast, and Art Fiction's Woman Up and Space. They're sort of some of my key ones that I listen to. And then just a total rotation of music. I don't really have any good taste. So it could be anything from Black Sabbath to Elton John, Alt J to Lana Del Rey. It just sort of fits on what I'm working on, what my energy's like. I think that the best reaction someone's had to my work is really just when someone connects with it. It might be that they share a personal memory or a feeling that, and you know, that feels really special when the art allows someone to open up and to be sort of honest and kind of really get into quite a perhaps nitty-gritty conversation quite quickly. I think that's probably what I hope people can take away from my work if they feel a connection to it. I think I paint because I don't find it as easy to communicate with words. I think words sometimes lack what the sort of complexity that can come across through a painting. So yeah, I think that sort of, if people can connect and they maybe not even share vocally a feeling or a thought, but take something away with them and remember the work, then that's really special. I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to some thoughts about my practice. I'm going to quick dive into what I'm up to. I've got work in 3 physical shows at the moment. Well, coming up. One's open, which is called Mother of All, and that is in Highgate in London. Then I like to take part in a Letter in Mind, which is a charity auction that happens annually. That's going to be at Gallery Different in the next month. And my website is ruthbatham.com. My Instagram is the most up-to-date, where I share finished work, but also little snippets of studio life. And that is just my name, so at Ruth Batham. You can also find my work on a new app which has just launched called ConArt, which is about connecting artists and art lovers. And I've been part of, when I used to have a studio in Tottenham, I've been part of a group called Zone Arts. So those are a few places to see a little bit more of what I'm doing. Okay, thanks for your time. Bye.